Most of the addictions that we have is just another form of self-soothing. It's a way to tell the pain body, I love you, but we're doing it subconsciously. We're doing it because it worked in the past and now it'll work in the future. And also, it's another form of distraction. If I do the drugs, or if I'm a porn addict or a sex addict, or even if I work out all the time, I'm constantly going. It's just another form of self-soothing. It's telling ourselves that we love ourselves. And there are positive ways and negative ways to do it, depending on who you are and what you believe. But it's just another stimulation, another dopamine hit. And that's how, like, positive affirmation works. When you look into the mirror and you tell yourself you love you X amount of times, it gives you reassurances. And then another step above that is telling yourself you love you X amount of times, but using your name. And that creates a division of awareness. It's like what Osho talks about with watching. All you have to do is watch. I mean, you watch movies, you watch plays, you watch birds play in the park, you watch your children, your loved ones, everybody. You're always watching, but you're not watching consciously. And it's the conscious part. It's the just watching without judgment, no affirmations, no ulterior motives. And when you just watch and you watch things come and go, move, that's when the world gets a little weird and wiggly. In fact, and I'm not a huge Bashar fan, but there was a thing that I watched with Bashar where he said, go to your favorite place that has a bench, like a shopping mall, a place that's really busy, the beach, anywhere where people gather, and sit on a bench quietly and just watch. And he's channels alien beings for whatever that means, right? I don't care if you believe it or you don't. That doesn't matter. But when you do that, people will catch you and you'll catch them back. And there's a weird sort of awareness in there, like we are not what we perceive ourselves to be. It's like two souls coming together very suddenly, and you feel like you've known that person your entire life. And there's a good chance maybe you did. Maybe it was another life. Maybe it's not this one. So with our addictions, if we're aware of them and we watch them and see what they are, instead of condemning ourselves for eating the extra cupcake or using the drug or engaging in sexual activity that makes us feel more whole, what we're doing is we're watching that without judgment, and we are allowing ourselves to see ourselves as the character that we're playing rather than the higher self that we are. And it's a little difficult at first, but if you keep doing it and you keep asking, who am I? That I am part is very pertinent to the path. And I'll guarantee you guys, if any of you are watching this video, you've already started this stuff. I'm not telling you anything new. But what I'm saying is, eventually, by watching yourself very carefully and not dissecting it, just watching it, watching the mind come up and watching the addictions play out, the watcher becomes the watched. And you're watching yourself watching yourself. And that is like, it's like staring into a double mirror where there's a mirror in front of you and a mirror behind you. And all of a sudden you can see infinite versions of you going forward and backward. And that is the idea behind, timeline jumping or dimensions or putting yourself in new perspectives. When you think it away, something has to take its place. That's the whole deal with the split particle theory, is that when you split a particle, and you're watching it, it changes compared to when you're not watching it or when it's not being observed. Things do different things as we watch them do it or don't watch them do it. So when it comes to the self, which is the thing that you should be watching the most, the self will react differently and it'll try to get your attention. And that's why the ego gets so dense when you're doing any type of like a meditative practice or a spiritual practice or prayer or whatever, yoga. It gets extremely intense. You're like, well, what the hell is this? Why does it feel like I'm falling backward? And it feels like you're falling backwards because you're noticing it even in a more extreme manner, because now the ego thinks that it has to, not that it's a separate entity, but the ego needs to reclaim in order to maintain the script. And whether you believe in destiny or fate or free will or a little combination of all those things, there is this observed point where we kind of already know what we're going to do well before we do it. And that's also been proven scientifically, that you know what you're doing well before you ever do it. That you have the decision made within a few seconds or milliseconds before you take action. So you already know which direction you're going. So when you watch that, it gets squiggly because you're no longer coloring inside the lines in the coloring book, you're coloring outside. And eventually, if you color enough, you can completely change the picture. And that's what we talk about when we talk about jumping timelines. So it's not some physical thing where like, oh, I'm in a different universe. It's I am thinking differently. I'm observing differently. I am that difference. As always, much love.